Let's talk about what the heck is going on at Kabam and Netmarble. As a lot of you know, over the past month, Kabam staff in general have had to kind of firefight with the fact that there's been some layoffs. And this isn't uncommon within the industry at the moment. The weirdest thing about it is that, well, there wasn't any kind of great announcement. But there's definitely been some kind of heavy restructure this year at Kabam. And as a lot of you know, it's affected things when it comes to like community management, but it's been going on for quite a while now. And an extensive amount of staff have been let go in the last couple of years, especially out the back of COVID. You know, people stopped spending as much money as they did in COVID times. And now because of the cost of living crisis, the extent of, well, you know, wages not rising in certain countries, the cost of everything, a lot of people aren't spending as much in, well, all games, some games. They're being very careful with money, and that's what people are doing nowadays. It's pretty difficult to get an exact number, but in some cases I've seen that people have mentioned that at one time Kabam had a peak of 1,000 staff and now are kind of floating at about the 802 mark. Depends how much you kind of read into that, if that is exactly the case. I guess some people might be wondering, like, what's this video about? Why are you making a video about Kabam? What is this? Explain yourself. This video is basically to kind of outline what are fundamental problems at the moment in game, or the extent of having as much coverage over certain elements of just getting things done, and also the extent of how it's affected, say, the community management team, which of course looks after us, the community. And I think it's important sometimes to learn, okay, that Kabam aren't able to deal with a lot of stuff, but of course you've seen on the forums, Kabam Crashed is getting more involved with stuff to like just help out pad that. We got Kabam Dog, or Dorky Diggity Dave, is back to help out as well, just kind of like interact with things. Jax is working incredibly hard to cover a lot of things from staff leaving, and that is, of course, is a big issue at the moment. People want to get stuff done in game, but of course the content is still coming out to us. It's just other things when it comes to bugs and other elements that Kabam seem to be like covering a lot of things because they were given more jobs, because there's less people now. But as a lot of you know, it's not just about, say, us, the community, the people that kind of work for Kabam, kind of like delivering the game, but there's people above that are making a lot of decisions and pulling a lot of the string. And now what we're going to do, like the kind of onion that we are doing, we're pulling back layers till we get to the center. One of those first layers is opportunities at Kabam. Currently, there's a finance job, there is a people operations partner, people and talent acquisition. Not really needed now because, well, you're only advertising 4 people. Do you need that person in first to find those 4 people? Look, somebody needs to be kind of like higher up dealing with that, not anybody at like game design level, which are looking for a senior RPG designer, which I don't know if that's necessary. That to me looks like that's more to do with the King Arthur game. A VFX artist could be something to do with MCOC, maybe not. But look, that's kind of 4 positions of what we kind of feel like, well, we've just there's a community manager higher up that's now gone. Not looking good, is it? And at this point, I want to give a shout out to Captain Dante, mod in the channel, who gave some brilliant information. This is from some recent, as we said, we stripped back a layer. We stripped back a layer of the employment. Why is that being stripped? We then go to the next layer. Well, that could be down to financials and Kabam being run as a very lean machine. Lean machine because, as you know, Kabam have to be profitable. They have to be seen as functioning, but also be a decent asset for Netmarble because that's who they're owned by. If you look at the totals of things, there are some revelations in all this which is worth pointing out. So from a financial perspective, these probably just look like numbers to everybody, but when we get the red arrow in and we point into the certain areas, you can see first of all here we've got a by the way, numbers wise, don't worry about the numbers, but what you can see is and point out is a slight decline. Let's say that's the banquet event there, 4th of 2023, 79,788. Then you've got, say, the 4th of 2022, which is 89,310. So you can see that there's been a 10,000 like reduction. Now I think like Captain Dante said, these are in certain types of millions of whatever it is, but whatever it is, just take it to the fact that there's seen a decline right there. You even go as far as to say, what, in 2021, the COVID years, 90,000, and then you look at the 4th of 2020, 93. It's not like a ridiculous decline. But of course, the COVID years were very beneficial financially for every gaming business, because you sat at home all the time and played video games. And if there was extras to pay for, you do that. 2019, still 93. So you look from 93 back in 2019. Well, it was New York Comic Con. That was the last one I attended. The last one Kabam attended. Apart from obviously doing they didn't exhibit. Sorry, the last time they exhibited. But you can see there the 4th to there. Like that's quite. It's not ridiculous, but it is a decline in that, and there's been this kind of like and again, don't go, oh, this is really bad, oh, we should scoop each other's brains because it's scary, because then there's other things when you look at the extent of again decline of stuff, like things are a little bit down at the moment. There's also the need for new players to the game, and that's something we've even talked about in videos. If you've been listening carefully, watching carefully, we have been mentioning that, you know, Kabam are looking to bring new players in, and also that's good. You know, offering more to new players to go, hey, you can catch up, but of course you can spend a bit of money to do that, is of course a good incentive to keep everything rocking and rolling. It's always a very tough balance when it comes to Marvel Contest of Champions, because it is a skill-based game. Got to be good, and if you're not good, then you can buy champions that are strong in order to see you through. That may be the case nowadays, but then that's the problem, isn't it, between what Netmarble want to see out of Kabam and Marvel Contest of Champions as their biggest asset. I don't think it's the biggest asset just yet, versus say what would be kind of like good from a healthy perspective for the game. You're always going to see a collide. Welcome to gaming, unless it's a skin-based system like Marvel Rivals, which is obviously the game that I cover on the other channel. So you're always in a very kind of like difficult situation. To be honest, I think Kabam could make a lot of money by just entering in a skin-based system, if that's entirely possible. Could we see that in our MCOC lifetimes? Possibly not, but look, I'd say Kabam would make more money just by adding in a skin system where you can like change the different types of outfits. Imagine if I'm just saying this now and Kabam add it in at some point. They may say it's difficult, but you'd make a lot of money. Now, not to go tinfoil hat, but to kind of point out some obvious things. Over the recent years, we've seen things like, okay, so Kabam owned by Netmarble. There was this really weird thing back, say, a couple years ago, which, I mean, I don't know whether or not I'm gonna have to go back to some old content to see like how I kind of covered this. But when they mentioned, we're excited to announce that as of the 1st of March 2022, the Netmarble US studio based in Los Angeles, California, will be joining Kabam. The Netmarble US studio has focused bringing many Netmarble mobile games titles of Western markets, such as etc, etc, etc. Now, I don't know what this kind of like, and as it's said by the CEO, that the new CEO, by the way, talked about a unification side of things. This is something that if you're bringing in people into a new team and you're like, okay, we'll put them in, it's like, oh, from that new team becomes bloated. So what do? Well, you might take some of the staff that are already there and go, well, that person, they do a job. Maybe they do it better than this person from Vancouver that operates. Gone. Same thing with this person. Gone. And before you know it, it's kind of like you can count how many have then kind of synergized in from, say, one side to the other. I'm not saying that did or didn't or has or hasn't happened, but of course, the more that you put in this bloated team to cover lots of roles, you start assessing it and start going, well, maybe that person snapped. That person snapped. With Thanos snapped a good chunk of the team because we've got people we think would be better to keep. Or team's too bloated, we need to be more leaner, and therefore people go. Now, I'm not here to give a lesson on business because you probably know more about business than I do or many other people. So it's like, well, you understand that there's got to be layoffs at times. Businesses need to keep going. But unfortunately, a lot of the time when shareholders are included in a situation, it makes it problematic for games development. It makes it problematic for making, decent decisions. And it's less about, say, the people that work for the company, and it's more about profit, which is obviously kind of sad. So is it all doom and gloom? No, it's not. There looks to be some element of plan to make Marvel Contest of Champions continue to be more successful. We've seen it with offers, like the cadence for things has changed. I don't know if Kabam would ever kind of admit to that, but the way that they are allowing, say, lower players more opportunity to get, bigger and stronger champions is self-evident. It's been proven. We've proved it on the channel. M's account is testament to being able to build from having that progression system that was put in. Her opportunity now has got 7 stars. She's got loads of 7 stars. Not loads, but, enough to go, well, not many people would be offered this kind of extent of level up and gain that they've seen. So Kabam are trying to open up the game more, especially with being available on more apps, like this whole kind of Flexion-based system. Also, there's been what I've read, Netmarble have sold some of their shares of, I don't know, some kind of BTS K-pop thing in order to improve their liquidity. So, of course, it looks like, and also that's improved their stock price, which is good as well. All that stuff is helpful for Netmarble in general right at the very top, but also their shareholders, which hopefully then puts less pressure on the games development wing and games ownership and asset ownership in general. So therefore isn't so much of a thing that, hey, Kabam members of staff, your days are numbered kind of situation. But also, like, the main thing about hope is going, like, at some stage I'm going to have to, I think about coming back to spending game. I don't know, still don't plan to do it this year, but it's just a case of supporting the game a bit. And you can't take away from the fact Netmarble want to squeeze as much money out of Kabam and the success of Marvel Contest of Champions as possible, which of course has its knock-on effects. But it's something that I just wanted to make people just aware of in this video, to go, look, this is something that is very much in the games industry at the moment. I think a lot of companies, especially those kind of parent companies and publishers, use it too much of an excuse to let people go, and are not willing to make, first of all, these changes right here to try and see if they can gain the funds that they think they've lost as a result of going and underperforming, because look, they're still making good enough money. It's just a case of, like, it's sad at the end of the day. And of course, there's going to be repercussions in people that are not going to be with the company anymore, especially when you've got only a few amount of roles that are coming in. And a lot of the time, they're not replacing key areas. And this is the big thing I want to, like, I have hope for the game for the future. I want this game to go as long as it possibly can, because that would be a testament to any mobile game. But also when it impacts things like having community-based events like Battleground Brawl, because that's going to be the issue of going, hey, we spend X amount, say they spent about, I don't know, $10,000 to $20,000 to put on a show like the Battleground Brawl, and that's obviously a lost leader. It's just to do a community vibe-based thing. But if they can't run them anymore, and also they haven't done much in the way of marketing, because that's the other thing, sponsorships with other content creators, not MCC content creators, the bigger realm of stuff, then that of course has a knock-on effect to get the game out there with the eyes. You don't see any kind of paid marketing on TikTok anymore. You don't see anything on YouTube. You certainly don't see anything when it comes to other areas of the game. And of course, with bigger competition coming in, I'm not saying it's scary times, but I always have hope that we can still, as a community, get new people in. That's why next year is going to be a big focus from me to do new player guides once Em's up and running with the channel, which, by the way, she will be kind of shadowing this video's production. So hopefully we can get this content out. I can go back to new player guides and we can start building this community with new people coming in. Just, you know, obviously everyone's still welcome, but it's a case we need new people to come in and help. So if you know somebody that you could recommend, hey, I've got this cool mobile game, then of course that's going to be really beneficial in the future as well. So that's been a video. What are your thoughts on some of the matters we've discussed here? And also check out some other content located on screen, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye for now.